In one fell swoop, BRICS upended the established world order and sent shockwaves around the globe. By imposing strict sanctions on Israel and United States, this emerging bloc of nations forced the international community to take notice of its growing influence. BRICS inserted itself aggressively into the volatile Israeli-Palestinian conflict, signaling its arrival as a formidable force willing and able to reshape Middle East geopolitics. As tensions have long simmered without resolution, did BRICS just light the fuse to a new chapter in this decades-long fight over Gaza and Palestine? In the heart of the ever-unsettled Middle East, the enduring clash between Gaza and Palestine has commanded global attention for decades. Recently, the world stage witnessed a seismic shift as the BRICS group, comprising Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, made an unprecedented decision. They chose to impose sanctions on Israel, a move that's echoing through the corridors of power and underscoring the deepening fault lines in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Before we dive into the intricate details of these sanctions, let's unravel the essence of the BRICS alliance. Initially conceived as an economic forum, BRICS has transformed into a platform fostering economic growth, political collaboration, and mutual understanding among its member states. Beyond economic ties, BRICS has become a significant player in shaping global discourse and influencing international policies. Now, the roots of the Gaza-Palestine conflict run deep into history, with both sides claiming the land. The late 19th century marked the onset of Jewish migration to Palestine, setting the stage for a conflict that would escalate through the 20th century. The Arab-Israeli War of 1948, a pivotal moment resulting in the establishment of the State of Israel, remains a poignant chapter in Palestinian history, leading to the displacement of hundreds of thousands of Palestinian Arabs. Throughout the years, the region has witnessed numerous conflicts, wars, and negotiations, yet a lasting solution remains elusive. The Gaza Strip, a small but volatile territory along the Mediterranean coast, has been a focal point of violence and suffering since 2007 when Hamas, an Islamist political and military organization, assumed control. Hamas's control sparked a series of conflicts with Israel, resulting in casualties on both sides. The decision by BRICS to impose sanctions on Israel sends a resounding message to the international community, highlighting the gravity of the situation. As tensions escalate and global powers make consequential moves, the repercussions of these sanctions are poised to reshape the geopolitical landscape in the volatile Middle East. To fathom the motivations driving this unprecedented move, we must navigate through several critical factors. The ongoing conflict in Gaza has given rise to a humanitarian crisis, with civilians, especially children, bearing the brutal consequences of violence. Reports of civilian casualties, destroyed infrastructure, and restricted access to basic necessities like clean water and healthcare have sparked international outrage. In response, BRICS nations argue that Israel's military actions have disproportionately affected the Palestinian population, constituting a severe violation of human rights. Consistently advocating for a two-state solution based on pre-1967 borders, BRICS nations contend that Israel's expansion of settlements in the West Bank and East Jerusalem violate international law and obstructs the path to peace. The sanctions, therefore, serve as a means to exert pressure on Israel, urging a halt to settlement activities and a return to meaningful negotiations. Echoing sentiments shared by a substantial portion of the international community, the BRICS group has criticized Israel's unilateral actions, including the construction of a security barrier and the annexation of the Golan Heights. These actions are perceived as undermining the prospects for a peaceful resolution to the conflict. BRICS sanctions aim to dissuade such unilateral measures, encouraging Israel to re-engage in diplomatic negotiations. Despite extensive international efforts to broker a peace deal, the Israeli-Palestinian conflict remains mired on a diplomatic stalemate. BRICS nations believed that imposing sanctions on Israel can break this deadlock, propelling both parties towards substantive negotiations. they assert that leveraging economic pressure can be a potent tool to induce a shift in Israel's approach to the conflict. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict has not only garnered significant attention on the global stage, but has also received support from various movements and civil society organizations worldwide. As BRICS nations make this bold move, the eyes of the international community are fixed on the potential impact of these sanctions on the complex tapestry of the Middle East. The global sentiment, particularly within BRICS nations, has overwhelmingly leaned towards sympathy for the Palestinian cause. It seems that BRICS leaders carefully considered these sentiments when deciding to impose sanctions on Israel, aligning their foreign policy with the prevailing views of their citizens. Now, let's delve into the far-reaching consequences of BRICS' decision to impose sanctions on Israel. Sanctions, when strategically targeted, can exert a severe economic impact, especially if they focus on pivotal sectors like defense, technology, or agriculture. Israel's heavy reliance on exports and trade partnerships means that sanctions from BRICS nations could disrupt its economic stability, potentially motivating a reassessment of its policies in the Gaza-Palestine conflict. Historically, Israel has enjoyed robust support from the United States and certain European nations. However, BRICS sanctions could potentially lead to Israel's diplomatic isolation on the global stage, making it increasingly dependent on its traditional allies. This isolation may, in turn, hinder Israel's ability to negotiate effectively in future peace talks. The Middle East, a region of strategic importance, may witness significant shifts in geopolitical dynamics due to BRICS sanctions on Israel. This move could potentially strengthen alliances between Israel and countries outside of BRICS, such as the United States. The resulting alterations in the balance of power in the Middle East may reshape regional alliances and have lasting implications for the broader global geopolitical landscape. As BRICS nations make this bold move, the world watches closely to understand the intricate interplay of politics, diplomacy, and power in the volatile Middle East. While BRICS sanctions aim to exert pressure on Israel, it's essential to recognize that they may also have unintended consequences for the Palestinian territories. Economic instability in Israel could impact Palestinian workers who depend on employment there. Additionally, sanctions might not necessarily lead to an immediate resolution of the conflict, potentially prolonging the suffering of Palestinians in Gaza and the West Bank. Globally, BRICS sanctions on Israel have sparked mixed reactions. Some nations and organizations have welcomed the move as a step towards addressing the long-standing conflict, while others have criticized it as counterproductive. The international community will closely monitor the impact of these sanctions and their implications for future negotiations. BRICS' decision to impose sanctions on Israel underscores the group's growing role in global politics and conflict resolution. If successful, this move could position BRICS as a key player in mediating international disputes and promoting peace. The imposition of sanctions by BRICS on Israel also highlights the evolving landscape of global geopolitics. Originally formed as an economic forum, BRICS has gradually expanded its focus to include broader geopolitical issues. This decision to sanction Israel demonstrates BRICS nations' willingness to engage in international conflicts and promote their vision of a just and equitable world order. It marks a shift from their historical role as primarily economic powers to influential players in global politics. Israel's response to the BRICS sanctions will be closely watched. The Israeli government is likely to face pressure from various quarters, both domestically and internationally, to reassess its policies in the Gaza-Palestine conflict. As the world observes these unfolding events, the impacts on the geopolitical dynamics of the Middle East remains uncertain but undoubtedly significant. As the repercussions of BRICS sanctions on Israel unfold, internal debates within Israel about the effectiveness of these measures and their potential impact on national security and diplomatic relations are anticipated. The United States, a long-standing ally of Israel, is expected to respond to the BRICS sanctions. Traditionally, the US government has used its veto power in the United Nations Security Council to shield Israel from international condemnation and sanctions. However, the BRICS sanctions may strain US-BRICS relations, raising questions about the future of US involvement in the Middle East peace process. Another critical aspect to consider is the role of other global powers in the conflict. The European Union, historically involved in Middle East peace negotiations, has expressed concerns about the Gaza-Palestine conflict. BRICS sanctions on Israel may prompt the EU to reevaluate its stance and sanctions, potentially leading to a coordinated international effort to resolve the conflict. Furthermore, the impact of BRICS sanctions on Israel's internal politics cannot be underestimated. The Israeli government may face increasing pressure from both coalition partners and opposition parties to respond decisively to the sanctions. The diverse opinions within the Israeli public on the Gaza-Palestine conflict may become more polarized in response to external pressures. The BRICS group's decision to impose sanctions on Israel in response to the Gaza-Palestine conflict underscores the complexity and sensitivity of the issue. Humanitarian concerns, international law violations, unilateral actions, diplomatic stalemate, and global public opinion have all contributed to shaping BRICS' stance on the conflict. The potential consequences of these actions are far-reaching, impacting Israel's economy, diplomatic relations, and the regional dynamics of the Middle East. These sanctions serve as a powerful reminder of the role that economic and diplomatic pressure can play in international conflict resolution. However, whether they will lead to a meaningful resolution of the Gaza-Palestine conflict or further exacerbate tensions remains uncertain. The international community will closely monitor developments in the region and the impact of the BRICS' decision in the coming months and years. Thank you for staying with me until the end. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and make sure the notification bell is turned on so you don't miss a video.